How worried are you in this juncture in the economy about the weakening krona?
Well, the background for central banks these days, and also Norges Bank to act, is that the activity in the economy has fallen sharply as a result of the corona pandemic. And in our case, the downturn is amplified by very low oil prices. And then that was the background for Norges Bank to act clearly in March. We had a policy rate at 1.5, which was reduced in March to 0.25. And at this juncture, we took a new step and reduced the policy rate to 0. So yes, I think you should see this policy reaction in our case, where we had a room of maneuver in monetary policy, in the interest rate policy, and we have utilized that room of maneuver.
Right. Have you had to intervene, though, in FX markets? You said in the past that you were ready to. Have you done it so far, and will you have to?
Yeah. The answer is yes. Going back to March, where we were all hit by the virus and the downturn, we reacted to reduce the policy rate. We also introduced liquidity measure. We have supplied the market with significant amounts of Norwegian kroner, and we, for the first time, if you go for 20 years, we announced that we were ready to intervene in the currency market to contribute to have the market functioning. And yes, we have done that to a limited extent, and you can find the numbers in the report which we published today.
Governor Olsen, thank you so much for joining us today. To have Andrew Bailey with us, and then Madame Lagarde and Madame Georgieva with us, and to have you lead that conversation is wonderful. You discovered oil in the North Sea in 1969, and the interdependencies of your central bank effort with the Sovereign Wealth Fund and with oil production is absolutely original and extraordinary. In this pandemic, is that delicate balance at risk? Is there a risk that Norway upsets the prosperity that has been generated since 1969?
Yeah, no, I don't think. My short answer is no, I don't think so. But before continuing, let me stress that, of course, looking forward, it's a challenge for the Norwegian economy if oil prices remain at the present low levels. But if you go back to 1969 and forward, we have actually exploited these opportunities, and we have spent somewhat of the money, but we have saved a lot. So we have that built, as you indicate, a huge sovereign wealth fund, and we benefit from that room of maneuver in fiscal policy these days. So and that room of maneuver remains, and it obviously is a positive feature of our society, and that we have this room of maneuver, unlike a number of other countries.
Right. The Norwegian bank folks, and I don't know how many of you know this out there watching us from Global Wall Street, but Norwegian Central Bank led central banking in clarity of statistics decades ago. And Governor Olsen, you came from that division, the statistical division. Can you give us the most efficacious oil price for Norway? Do you have in your head the best price of Brent that advantages Norway in the microeconomics of oil?
And the price of oil which could damage or which we could survive with?
No,
is that the question?
Which would benefit you? Yes. Which price of oil is the best price for you?
That's a very difficult question. Of course, on the one hand we benefit from, say, reasonably high oil prices exceeding average costs, including capital costs, and that's been a case. To be in a crude way, if we have oil prices in the range of, say, $50, $60. My clear view of the cost level and the prospects on the shelf is that's fine. But isolated, even higher oil prices could be fine. But then we also have to take into account the effect of very high oil prices on markets, on demand. You have the climate challenge, which is there. So it's a complicated issue. But of course, being an oil nation, having the possibility to remain so for the future, we could hope for, say, oil prices coming back to around, say, $50, $60.
Governor, are there limits to how much monetary policy can actually achieve in a crisis like this? And how would you describe the fiscal response from your country so far?
The fiscal response has been strong, but as I just said, we have this room of maneuver through this huge sovereign wealth fund. Now our estimates of the usage of oil money is in the range of exceeding 4% of the fund capital. That's higher than the fiscal rule, but we assume we expect this going forward. We expect more restrictive fiscal policy in the future, as far if the coronavirus sort of goes back, if there's a rebound in the economy, as it may seem now.
The government's withdrawals.
So no drama in fiscal policy, and the response is strong, and we have this room of maneuver.
Governor, the government's withdrawal from the Sovereign Wealth Fund this year will, for the first time, actually exceed the fund's own cash flow, forcing it to sell assets. How challenging is this for the Sovereign Wealth Fund?
There's no special circumstances around the features you now indicate. It's part of the system that if you go back, there has been an inflow to the fund. If needed, there could be an outflow, and in this very special situation where we have a dramatic fall in activity, the worst downturn since the Second World War, it's part of the guidelines, in general guidelines, that in such circumstances you could spend more, and there's no practical challenges in the market or in the case of the role of the central bank in that respect.